Anyway, let's talk about some playoffs, brother.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Look, we'll go game by game. So we get AFC on Saturday, NFC on Sunday, which I
That's
thought was
weird, by the way.
yeah, very
What
weird.
is
I
that?
don't I don't like that at all.
Me neither. Why are they not splitting them like they always have? I don't understand that.
I don't like it at all. And I got to be honest with you, like. Okay, let's say New England wins against Tennessee. This is not the game we're going to lead off with, but whoever they play next week, I'd be a little annoyed that New England gets an extra day to prepare, an extra day to
Yeah.
game plan.
Yeah.
Then again, I guess the idea is that New England would then play the team on Saturday next week anyway.
So are they going to do the same thing for the divisional round? Do you know?
You know what,
It's odd.
the schedule's already set for the divisional round of when the home teams play. So I haven't looked at that, but my guess is if both teams play in the AFC on Saturday, they'll both play on the both games next week for the AFC will also be on a Saturday. That's just my guess. But anyway, yeah, it is weird. But let's start, Brad. We have Buffalo, according to Bovada, +3 at the Houston Texans. Interesting game. Let me just run down some stats for you, Brad. And I'll just give you the home and away stats. So away, the Buffalo Bills score 21.5 points a game, and their defense gives up 15.6 points per game. So that's a net of what, about 5 there, pretty close. Houston at home scores 25 points a game and gives away 23 points a game. So that's only a net of 2. You have Josh Allen versus Deshaun Watson. I would say the advantage has to be Houston there. I mean, would you? I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Quarterback-wise, yeah.
But I think, and I would say at receiver, Houston probably has the better of the receivers there. You got DeAndre Hopkins, and if Will Fuller is healthy, him. Whereas Buffalo really only has Cole Beasley and John Brown. John Brown, no disrespect to him, but he's not DeAndre Hopkins. So, I would say that skill players and quarterback probably goes to Houston. But I have to say Buffalo's defense is better to me. I think Buffalo's running game, although Houston has, no disrespect to Houston's running game, but I like the 1-2 punch of Singletary and Gore better than I like Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. So it's a pretty close matchup. +3 to me is like, that's a tough one for me to call, Brad, but where are you leaning on this one?
I like Buffalo, man. I think defense wins out in this one. I'm rooting for them anyway, for sure.
I lean... Here's how I'll pick. I've done this with Houston in a while, or for the last few episodes, and it's not a popular opinion. I can tell Houston fans downvote me every time I say this, but it doesn't make it untrue. Houston is a different team when Will Fuller plays. Brad, I'm sounding like a broken record. You've heard me say this before.
Sure.
But Houston when Will Fuller plays is like 7-2, and they score a lot of points. When he doesn't play, they tend to lose because teams will double or triple cover DeAndre Hopkins, take their chances with the running game, keep the game close, and win in the end. And Houston needs a vertical passing component, and it's the same thing I say, Brad, about Green Bay, as you know. There are teams that need that vertical component. Houston is one of those teams. Now, if you had a tight end like Travis Kelce, one of these crazy good tight ends that can just own the middle of the field, that vertical component isn't as important. That's why we see a team like Philadelphia doing well, because they have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Those tight ends can dominate the middle of the field and move the chains. They can play more ball control. Darren Fells, I like him, but he's not that kind of elite tight end. So without that, in Green Bay, Jimmy Graham is not that elite tight end at this.
No, he's not.
So once you get to that component, if you're not going to have that deep threat, you need to have that elite game-changing type tight end, and neither one of those two teams have it, so I worry about them. If Will Fuller doesn't play, I'm going to take Buffalo to win 20-17. If Will Fuller plays, I'm going to take Houston to win 24-20. So I'm going to punt on my pick, but I will say I'm going to stick to exactly that reasoning. So if Will Fuller plays, you can assume that I'm picking Houston to win by 4 and cover the spread. If Will Fuller's out, I agree with you, Brad. I think Buffalo scores 20 either way, and it's just a matter of whether or not Deshaun Watson can get that magic going. And I think Josh Allen, I think he's going to throw a pick in this game, maybe 2. I don't know what the Bovada over or under the prop bet is for that, but I'll be checking it. Josh Allen, let me write that down. I'm writing a note. Brad, again, let me just bring this up because I always do. I hit the all-time best bet with you in that Denver versus Seattle Super Bowl years ago when I gave you even money odds that Demaryius Thomas would fumble in that game. And,
I've never seen anything like that.
You're like, I'll take that bet.
I can't even believe it. It was just insanity.
Oh, it was so good. They were getting blown out, and then
That was a
the
lock.
first drive in the second half, he fumbles, and I said he had to lose the fumble on top of it. He
Right,
lost the
right. And
fumble.
it all happened. I mean, that was like channeled through you from some other
I put it
place,
out in the
right?
universe and I won. So let me say this: I think Josh Allen throws for an interception. If the over/under, if Bovada has that over/under at about, I don't know, at 1, I'm going to stay away from it. But if the over/under is at like a half, I'm going to take Josh Allen to throw an interception. Look, this is a close game, and in fact, all the lines I got to say, I don't see a lot of value here. To be honest with you, I don't think I'm even going to bet any of these games because they all kind of scare me for one reason or another. But if Will Fuller is out, I will say I do feel good about that Buffalo. If he's in, I'm just going to stay away from the bet because it's a little bit too close for me. Let me get through some fantasy football. If you're playing daily fantasy football quickly, here's what I have. I have Josh Allen based on his, I mentioned his interceptions, but based on his running ability, I do think he's going to be worth a play this week. I have him at about a 23, so that's like 2 touchdowns, give or take. Gore is a sit. Devin Singletary is a start. John Brown is a start. And Cole Beasley is a start for me. For Houston, Deshaun Watson, I do have as a start, but it's kind of like a fringe-worthy start. I think the budget is better for Josh Allen. I actually think Josh Allen outscores in terms of fantasy Deshaun Watson. I know people are being like, what? But, it's just how I see it. Remember, rushing yards count here. Neither one of the running backs. I like DeAndre Hopkins. I like Will Fuller if he plays, and nobody else for Houston.